Hello, this is Evan Hyde with Coking.com, and I am here to bring you one of my favorite games, I Spy a Coker. Seems like a little bit of a strange thing to do, but because I am a coker tourist, I do like to analyze cokers from afar and close up when possible. So we're going to be showing a number of photos from various units all over the world and seeing what we can figure out by looking at their pictures from afar. So these are generally photos that have been taken outside of the refinery fence line. So let's take a look. Got our first one here. Picture's a little bit small. Let me make it a little bit bigger for us. Might be a little grainy, but what are we looking at here? So we got ourselves clearly a 4-drum coker with common derricks for each drum pair, 2 furnaces. But let's dig a little bit deeper here. So we do notice that the drill stem equipment is on the outside of the derricks. You can kind of see it right there, the rotor joint hanging out there in the top. Right there, you can't quite make out the hose. Maybe if you look a little bit closely, there's the hose. But pretty standard issue coker. This coker's probably in a warm climate because you don't see much in the way of protection up at elevation. But we also have the 2 furnaces. Most of the time you have a drum pair with 1 furnace, so a 4-drum coker. It makes sense to have 2 furnaces. What else can we spy about this furnace? It's clearly a forced draft furnace because you can see the ducting going to the air preheater and then return to the stack, so that is a forced draft furnace. A lot of these smaller towers you see up front here, that's probably the gas plant. We see some other vessels off in the distance, really hard to kind of make those out. So not the best picture of a coker I have, but we're building up here. So moving on, we have another picture of a coker, very different style drum structure as you can tell. Here we have again a 4-drum coker, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the drilling equipment is captured in this one monolithic derrick structure right here. You can see the little hoses poking out for each of the 4 drums there. And what else can we see? So we also see this vessel up front here that doesn't really show much in the way of much of side draws. It's a relatively large vessel. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that this is the blowdown tower. And you can see the piping moving away from there, probably some overhead pressure relief protection there. We also notice in this picture, you see a smaller coker hiding over here to the side. It's for sure 2 drums, but we don't know. Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it only 2? Hard to say. We have a bit of an inkling to it because you see this little gantry going off the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that this coker is the older coker for the site, probably a 4-drum, and then they built this newer 4-drum to expand their capacity. I wonder if they use this older 4-drum for specialty coke and they use the bigger one for fuel coke. Who knows? Maybe it's a needle coker. Who knows? And the last picture for today, this is the back side of a unit. We're gotten a little bit closer now. You can tell again, still staying with the 4-drum theme today. We have 1 common derrick structure for 2 drums. We see this little bit of a thing sticking out of the side that supports the hose and the drilling equipment as it moves up and down. Now, if you're familiar with one of the major licensors that has bigger things sticking off the sides, you will know that you'll see a subtle difference. This is much smaller, and there's another bit of a giveaway here. So if we move ourselves down lower, you'll see the concrete tabletop around the coke drums, but you'll see a metal chute. So the metal chute where the coke would fall out of the drum after cutting goes into a pad arrangement. You can't quite see it. It's obscured by these rail cars, which we'll talk about in a second. But you'll notice that if you happen to know, the licensor that prefers a very special configuration here doesn't tend to prefer the metal chutes here. So can't really make any definitive statements about who the licensor might be based on this particular photo. But let's talk about the coke handling a little bit. So we see the crane that will move and pick up the coke along its tracks here. Pick up that coke, drop it into a crusher, and it looks like it goes directly into rail cars. No conveyor belts, no secondary storage. The coke goes directly into the rail cars and out of the plant, no problems. So that's somewhat unique for those of you out there in the world. We see this blue area is probably the elevator. Looks like they have a secondary elevator up. Wonder if that's for maintenance or because they're having elevator reliability. We have lots of elevator reliability problems in the coker world, so I wouldn't put it past them to have this temporary maintenance elevator on a semi-permanent basis. So we also notice up here on the cutting deck level, you see two cutting shelters there, kind of off to the side, and they're oriented on the same side as the pit, so the cutter gets good observation of what's happening down there. So this is my first pass at doing the I Spy a Coker series. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we're going to be doing more of these moving forward, so look forward to more of these videos coming at you. Thanks, Evan Hyde with Coking.com.